Welcome back to IGN Live from Comic-Con, presented by the all-new LG G4. I'm Damon, this is our comics editor, Joshua Yell.
Hello.
We are joined now by the powers that be. Joshua, who are our friends over here?
We got Brian Michael Bendis, writer of Power, co-creator of Powers, and the artist, also co-creator, Michael Avon Oming, and Rami Abashan, the showrunner for Powers.
Hello.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Powers, PlayStation's first original series, is out there. Season 1 is complete. What has the reaction for you guys been like watching people see Powers for the first time?
Well, I bet these guys have more of a reaction since they've lived with it for, what, 250 years? Around there.
Yeah.
And to see it suddenly come to life, I know I've watched Brian's face light up in about 15 different colors when it's actually been realized, and Mike's images, which influenced us all in the first season in terms of his, vibrant approach to finding characters up in your face and stuff like that. We tried to capture that as best we could in the film. So I think the audience has pretty much reacted to it the same way that they've reacted to the long-running book. Am I right about that, guy?
Yeah, no, I mean, we had that weird experience of talking about this for many years, and there was just people who, and they were right to not believe us that there was something being worked on, but
15
now
years of production.
Yeah, but now that the show came out, we had this great experience of people watching it weekly, and now they can watch the whole season at once. And now here comes the Blu-ray and DVDs coming, and they're binging it, and we had enough people watch it where we got a second season. So how it feels great. Second, the people are like, how will you know if the show worked? Like that they gave us a second season, and
there
so,
you go.
Yeah, so it's really the only way you know. So we feel very good, and we're actually taking a break from the writers' room to come here to talk to you. We're knee deep in it as we speak. So
thank you so much for coming. Yeah. So season 2. Let's talk about season 2. What so much happened in the season 1 finale. Characters died, characters got powers. So what can we expect for season 2?
Well.
Even cooler stuff.
Yeah.
I think it'll be, we tried to take what we thought was the great thrust and movement of the first season and then just try to double that for the second season. And that's kind of what we're working on in the writer's room right now, trying to, we've got a lot of gas going from the end of the first season, and we're hoping to take that and really push that and amp it up so that we're not going to give, actually, the theory is that we don't want to give the fans any time to take a breath during the second season.
It's like a building of momentum, and then with the second season, it's
like, And no spoilers, but the first question on everyone's minds coming to the second season is who killed Retro Girl, which happens to be the title of our first ever graphic novel of Powers. And though the events may not mirror what happened in the book, the importance of that storyline and what it means to the overall universe of Powers, absolutely. It's the biggest superhero in the world. She's been murdered. Everyone's a suspect until proven otherwise. And it's an impossible murder. She's the strongest superhero, and yet she's been murdered. And that case is laying in front of our detectives. And it will, literally change the Powers universe, no matter what the outcome.
Yeah, that was one heck of a way to start the series, and now to finally get the experience in the show, that's going to be really awesome. But speaking of the book, Michael, you and Brian are back on the actual Powers comic book. You relaunched it. Are you doing anything special to make the comic book a little more accessible to those who have found the show?
Well, every new #1 you assume is somebody's first issue. Actually, every issue of the book you assume is somebody's first issue. But definitely with the relaunch to match with the show, we wanted to be able to set up something that was easier for people to come into. So you could start with this first issue, having not read anything, and you'll get into it. Especially because the first issue is largely about Dina, and then we explore her character and then bring Walker in. So it's kind of a reboot for the book as well. So it works out for anybody.
Yeah, this isn't too different from how I think of things when I'm working on my Marvel books and there's movies surrounding those books sometimes. And like I was on Avengers when Avengers hit, but if you read my Avengers title, there's Luke Cage and Spider-Woman, but But what I learned this actually early on at Marvel when I was working on Daredevil. I was waiting for a call that they were going to tell me make it more like the movie Daredevil, and instead our publisher said, "Oh no, they've seen the movie. Let's give them something else. Let's take that experience and not repeat it or do a mirror of it. Let's push them along and get them involved." So we look at the comic in the same way, where if you've seen the show, well, our comic is actually a few years ahead in the timeline of a version of these characters. So enjoy that. Like if you're hungry, if you're waiting for season 2 and you can't wait till next year when we debut it, come read some comics. It's all there, and you'll have a unique experience, yet one that hopefully will satisfy. And I had that like on Guardians of the Galaxy. People who saw that movie had not experienced the comic book in great numbers, and so they were all buying our book, and we're getting an experience that was similar yet different, and it was scratching the itch.
Yeah, like what's Venom doing in here?
No, but that's good. That gets people like when there's some kids I know. One kid saw that Venom was on the team, but he knew Venom and he knew the Guardians, and they go, "Oh, I got to read this."
Yeah,
that's what you want.
So, gentlemen, unfortunately, we're running short on time. Last question, Brian. Now that Marvel has the Star Wars license, do you have any interest in writing a Star Wars comic?
I do. And I have been offered, and this is the high classiest, braggiest thing ever. There's so many cool things on my plate. I just have to pick the ones. Sure. You know what I mean? And when I read Jason Aaron's Star Wars, I go, I can't do better than that. It's like, that's really great. So I don't feel like that, like a social urge to right or wrong. Sure. But if I remember that secret origin of Yoda that I invented when I was 10, I'll run to the office and go, I got it. But
I'd like to read that.
But when there's other books that are coming down the pike that will pique your interest. Not everything from Marvel has been announced. So. Okay.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you.
Powers, you can watch it now on PlayStation. Season 2 is coming next year. Stay tuned. Much more to come here from Comic-Con Live at IGN after these messages.